So you never bought a plane ticket either? To say,
No,
hey,
I didn't. No.
Okay.
So where would I be booking him out of?
I mean, that's,
No, please explain. What city would he leave from?
hold on here. Hold on here. I mean, I get to ask the questions.
I know you do, but
But I just want to know if you bought a plane ticket to any place in Nigeria, any of the major cities.
there's no plane ticket that exists that goes from nowhere to Atlanta. If there was a plane ticket that existed that goes
Are
from
there
nowhere
plane tickets that go to, I apologize for my.
from Lagos?
Are there plane tickets that go to Abjura, Nigeria?
There's no plane ticket that goes to, where is it?
Abjura, Abuja.
There are plane tickets that go to Abuja, but I knew for a fact that he did not live in Abuja. So why would I buy a plane ticket from Abuja?
Well,
Next, where's the next
how do
plane
you
ticket?
expect the child to get from Nigeria to the United States?
With his father. That's how he got to Nigeria in the first place.
Okay, can you hear me?
Yes.
Okay.
So everybody ready to proceed?
Yes, Your Honor.
Let's take up plaintiff's renewed motion for contempt.
Your Honor, we have a pending motion for contempt, a renewed motion for contempt. Your Honor, we also were noticed for all pending matters in this case, and we are prepared to go forward on a final basis as well if the court will allow us.
We have also, Your Honor, filed a motion to enforce a prenuptial agreement and a PACE notice, Your Honor.
Okay.
Yeah,
So what do you say about going forward on everything?
I mean, if the court grants the PACE notice, we'd like to hear the motions and go forward on which should be the remaining issues of child support and custody. Yes, Your Honor.
Okay, well, let's go forward on the motion for contempt first of all.
yes, Your Honor. Your Honor, the parties are married. They were married in March of 2013. The parties have two minor children, Victor, who was born in 2014, and Siada, who was born in 2017. The parties, from the time the children were born, lived here in DeKalb County until the summer of 2021, when Mr. Ameli took the children to Nigeria, presumably to visit. However, Mr. Ameli did not return with the children. In December of 2021, Ms. Ameli went to Nigeria. She was able to return with the daughter, Siada. Since then, father has remained in Nigeria with little Victor. Well, after mom brought Siada back in December 2021, dad cut off contact between mom and little Victor. That went on for several months until about this late spring, early summer of 2022, dad started to allow phone contact between mom and little Victor. But when he found out that mom was contacting little Victor's school in spring of 2022, he removed little Victor from that school and moved schools. We believe he also moved residences at that time as well. We had a temporary hearing then on October 10th of 2022 before the court. At that temporary, my client agreed and the court ordered that little Victor would stay in Nigeria on a temporary basis with father, and the daughter, Siada, would remain in the United States here in Georgia with mom. Under that order, the father was to provide the residential address for little Victor and himself, as well as the school information for little Victor. Mom was also to have liberal telephone and video communication with little Victor, and mom was to have visitation over Christmas 2022. Since that temporary hearing on October 10th, and the court issued the temporary order on October 13th, father cut off contact between mom and little Victor from October 10th up until February 2nd. So she went 4 months without having any contact with little Victor, even though she was texting dad and asking for phone contact. Dad refused to provide his residential address and school information until February 2nd. On February 2nd, dad provided school information for the minor child. He provided school information for a school that the child no longer attended and hadn't since the prior semester. He did not provide his address. Instead, he provided a general location of his address. We don't even know if that's even his address. Not substantial compliance, it's some compliance. Again, the court has the authority on a temporary basis to order Mr. O'Malley to return the child to the United States. And I would ask the court to do that.
All right, put your client up.
Sada, will you unmute yourself?
The only thing that should interest us is what's in the best interest of both these children. So yes, I would have loved to say to the judge, both these kids need to be here with me right now. But where we stood at that point, I still felt that there was a way forward where Victor is running front point with our son in Nigeria. I'm running front point with our daughter in Nigeria. We're doing everything we can to have those kind of quality communication that I talked about. That kind of quality connection, virtually, yes. And they spend the holidays together. They get to know and embrace each other. They get to know and love their parents and have their parents in both their lives.
Vacation with in March of 2022?
He had.
Do you know when did he do that?
I believe it was shortly after our son's birthday on March 20th, because our son never got any of the gifts I sent him to at the school. And even when I asked for like a report card or anything like that, the name of the school would be whited out. So yes, I didn't know anything after March 20th, 2022.
Okay, did he eventually provide an address for a school?
The time that he provided an ad, so it was February 2nd that he with his new attorney, he provided an address. And I immediately called that. Well, I'll let you ask the next question.
I'm gonna show you, Your Honor, may I have permission to share my screen and show the witness and exhibit?
Yes, ma'am.
I'm showing you what I've marked as petitioner's exhibit number 1. Do you recognize this?
I do. That is an email from Victor O'Malley's lawyer with the address and the school information and his address.
And what's the date of that email?
That's February 2nd, 2023.
And in that email, Mr. O'Malley's attorney provides the address of the school and a general location of Mr. O'Malley's address.
Yes, he does.
Your Honor, I would tender this as petitioner's exhibit number 1.
No objection.
Submitted without objection.
So in this email, he says that here's the general location of Mr. O'Malley's house, but doesn't provide an actual street address.
Correct.
And this school, did you then contact this school?
I immediately did, and they said he had not been going to that school since January of that year.
And did you contact Mr. O'Malley about where little Victor was going to school?
I did, and at that point he said, yes, he hasn't been going to that school anymore. I'm homeschooling him.
Did Mr. O'Malley ever have a conversation with you about homeschooling little Victor?
No, he never did. And he said he was following a curriculum. I said, I'd like to see that curriculum. I'd like to talk to his teachers. I'd like to know what his social activities are. And his answer was no to all of that.
Okay. And then in the temporary order, you were supposed to have liberal telephone and video communication with little Victor, correct?
Yes.
Did that occur?
That did not occur.
I'm going to show you what I've marked as petitioner's exhibit number 2. Do you recognize this?
Those are WhatsApp messages and communication I sent to Victor O'Malley.
Okay, so these are screenshots from your phone.
Correct.
And this is a true and accurate representation of the messages between you and Mr. O'Malley?
Correct.
Your Honor, I would tender this as petitioner's exhibit number 2.
Is this the one of the documents that you sent to me in discovery, Patty?
Yes, these were provided in discovery.
Okay, just and I take it when you scroll down, that's one of the long series.
Yes, and I'm gonna take my client through it.
Okay. No objection, Your Honor.
Admitted without objection.
Ms. Amelie, this starts October 14th. Now, this message in green, is that you texting Mr. Amelie or him texting you?
Green is me texting him.
Okay, so you texted him on October 14th, and you say that you have tried calling him.
Correct.
What are the two little check marks?
It means that he has read them.
Okay, and this is it. You said this was in WhatsApp?
Yes,
Okay, and you texted him a second time on October 14th.
correct.
Did he?
I hate to interrupt you, Patty. This is October 14th, 2022?
I will clarify with the witness. Ms.
Thank you.
Amelie, is this October 14th, 2022?
Yes, in that we had the hearing October 9th. The judge ruled October 13th, and then it was silence. And yes, so subsequent to that temporary hearing coming out, yes, October 2022.
Okay, and going back to this date, October 14th, did Mr. Amelie call you?
No, he did not.
Okay, and then we go and there's a message that you sent him on October 15th that you sent to him. Did he respond to this one?
He did not.
And again, on October 16th, it looks like you sent him several messages.
Correct.
And you say you called both lines. Did he have two phone lines?
Yeah, the US line and a Nigerian line.
And were both active during this time period?
They were, and they still are.
Okay. Did he respond to your messages on October 16th?
He did not.
And it looks again on October 21st, you texted him about speaking to little Victor. Did he respond to this?
He did not.
And then it looks like you sent him a video. What's this video that you sent him?
That's our daughter in gymnastics.
Okay. And is this your daughter?
Yes, at a holiday party.
So you were sending him pictures of Seattle.
I was, yes.
You texted him again October 23rd about speaking to little Victor. Did he respond?
He did not.
How about October 24th when you texted him? Did he respond to that?
He did not.
What about this message on October 29th? Did he respond?
He did not.
And during this time period, this month of October, did he ever call you?
He didn't. He never called me. No, he never calls.
Did he ever try to FaceTime you?
He never did. In relation to the children, intermittently he would call. We have rental properties in common, so he would have issues related to that. But he never contacted me or called me. No.
Okay. You texted him again on October 30th, asking to talk to little Victor. Did he respond?
He did not.
And it looks like you sent another video. What's this video that you were sending him?
That's our daughter making a drawing. It ends up being a person. So.
Okay. And again, you're sending him more pictures of Seattle.
Mm-hmm.
And did he ever respond to these pictures that you sent him of Seattle?
No, he never did.
All right. And you text him again on November 6th. Did he respond and let you talk to little Victor then?
He did not.
How about this message on November 12th that you sent him?
He did not.
Did he respond on November 13th when you asked to speak to him?
He did not.
Did he respond when you texted him on November 19th and asked to talk to little Victor?
He did not.
How about November 20th when you texted and asked to speak to little Victor?
He did not.
How about November 26th?
He did not.
That would have been right around Thanksgiving time. Did he let you talk to little Victor on Thanksgiving?
He did not.
Did he respond to this message on November 27th to talk to little Victor?
He did not.
How about on December 3rd?
He did not.
And here's one, and you text him again on December 10th and December 11th. Did he respond?
Right. No response.
Did he call?
Nope, he did not.
How about on December 17th or December 18th?
He did not respond.
How about on Christmas Eve or Christmas Day?
He did not respond. And I sent him a voice message, just wishing them a happy holiday.
Okay. How about on New Year's Eve? Did you get to talk to little Victor on New Year's Eve?
I did not.
How about on New Year's Day? What's the
No.
response?
No communication.
And you contacted him again on January 7th. Did he respond to that?
He did not.
Okay. But January 8th.
Nope. And there I'm asking him, can I please talk to my son? How is he? It's been 2 months since you let me speak to him. I sent Christmas gifts for him because I did. Victor had a sister that was going to Nigeria, and I contacted her and sent Christmas gifts. And that sister also, well, I mean, that would be hearsay for me to talk about what she said, I know. So, but I'm just saying she was never able to get me a photo or a video or any sense of what Victor was up to over the holidays. And I reached out to other of his family members to try and at least let me have some contact with our son over Christmas, and that also came to no avail. And I will also highlight for the court that during this entire period, this is also Victor Emeli not talking to his daughter. This is also little Victor not talking to his little sister. So when we think about the best interest of both kids, which is what I'm hoping we're all here for, this is not good. And this is not what, I was hoping that the temporary hearing would lead to.
Now, you sent Christmas gifts for little Victor. Did Mr. Emeli send Christmas gifts for Siada?
He did not, but I did buy her gifts and say that they were from her father and her brother.
Okay.
And that being said, he's on Amazon, so it's just a click away for him. It's not a hardship for him to try and send something. He knows all her favorite things because I always tell him whenever I can.
Okay. What about on January 14th? You texted him. Did he respond to that?
No response.
And how about the message on January 15th?
No response.
January 15th?
No response.
January 21st?
No response.
The 22nd?
No response.
And then this was into February. Is that right?
Yes.
Now you testified then on February 2nd, Mr. Emeli let you speak to little Victor.
So February 2nd, I believe, was the day of the hearing. So it was the day before, like literally the evening before the hearing. He made a phone call and put Victor on the phone. They put little Victor on the phone.
Okay. I'm also going to show you what I've marked as petitioner's exhibit number 3. Do you recognize this?
I do.
What is this?
The other WhatsApp messages were to Victor Etiovodo Emeli, and that's his Nigerian number. And this is to Victor Emeli, that's his US number. So every message I sent to both numbers. Okay. And so this is to his other number.
So you were contacting him on both lines?
I was.
I would tender this as petitioner's exhibit number 3.
No objection.
Without objection.
So from October 9th to February 1st, you had no contact with little Victor.
I had no contact with little Victor, and little Victor's sister had no contact with her brother, and Victor Emeli had no contact with his daughter by his choice.
Okay. Now you heard Mr. Emeli.
And sorry, that period also includes his daughter's 5th birthday, December 27th. So.
You heard Mr. Emeli's attorney say in an opening that Mr. Emeli made little Victor available for visitation over Christmas 2022. Would you agree with that statement?
That would be a completely false statement, utterly false. As you can see, I can't communicate with him. Like, I can't get a phone call. How am I going to get him on a plane to America? I can't even just get an ordinary phone call in that period.
Okay. And did you, at this time period, even know where Mr. Emeli and little Victor were living?
I did not, and I still don't.
Okay. Now, tell the court about the phone communication since February 1st.
Since February 1st, after that hearing on the 2nd, where Mr. Gross asked for a continuance because he was new to the case, which the judge granted, and the judge at the time also told Victor MLA, I'm telling you, you should be, he said, when we have when we put these orders out, it's not so you can cherry pick what part you're going to be in agreement with. We expect you to follow these things. So I feel like he was given at least a warning then. But he then contacted me and said, this is the plan. We are going to have Wednesday, Saturday, Sunday calls. I'll call you, and he specified the time. And so he would text me maybe 30 minutes before call and say, I'm going to call. And usually, so since then, the schedule has been Wednesday, Saturday, Sunday. But if he cancels, there's no room for makeup, which our order, the parenting plan order, did say if there's a cancellation, there should be room for makeup. And I pointed that out to him. So if he cancels for whatever reason, then it's a cancellation. And the calls last from 10 to 15 minutes. They are supervised by him. As Mr. Gross says, he doesn't know what would happen if you give a 9-year-old a phone. And I think, yes, it could be challenging if you just gave him a phone, but if you give him an iPad, we've worked with that before and it's been fine. So that's where we are now. Poor quality, not audiovisual. They always occur just before his bedtime, before little Victor's bedtime. So he's usually the most tired then. And barely has much energy left to have a solid conversation. But that happens on Wednesday, Saturday, Sunday at Victor Melly's discretion.
Okay, and you state that he cancels calls. Why does he cancel calls? Does he tell you why?
There are times he says Victor has already fallen asleep, or he says, I have meetings today, I just can't do it, or this day won't work out. And then most recently there was a cancel, which is odd because usually he doesn't cancel both Saturday and Sunday. He often cancels the Wednesday, but he usually doesn't cancel both Saturday and Sunday. But we have rental properties together. We have 4 rental properties that we co-own. And I didn't realize that money was coming into our joint account from those rental properties and being removed like immediately. Like I just didn't know because whatever the balance is, say the balance is $100. To me, it always looks like it was $100. But during the discovery process, I had to supply all this information. And I saw that literally like $2,000 would come in and would leave immediately. So I went to the bank and I asked them to put a hold on the accounts so that money cannot be withdrawn, which I think is fair. They're joint accounts and we're going through this process. Nobody should be taking money. It should just be sitting there. So Victor had just discovered that had happened that Wednesday. And so he canceled the call. He asked me about the access to accounts. I ignored it. And then he canceled the calls for the subsequent weekend.
Okay. Have you kept a log of the phone calls since he started allowing them on February 1st?
I have.
I'm going to show you what I've marked as petitioner's exhibit number 4. Do you recognize this?
I do. That is a log I created.
And this these are your notes regarding the calls.
Correct.
Okay, and so this notes that there was no calls from October 9th until February 1st.
Correct.
And then after that, you only were allowed supervised phone calls.
Correct. And all the highlighted ones are the cancellations without opportunity to reschedule.
Okay. And the temporary order specifically allows for video calls, correct?
Correct. It allows for ample video calls and unsupervised video calls today.
I would tender petitioner's exhibit number 4.
Any objection?
No objection.
Better without objection.
Ms. O'Malley, you heard Mr. O'Malley's attorney in opening state that Mr. O'Malley had attempted to FaceTime call, and because of technology or connection issues was unable to do that. Have you ever had any missed FaceTime calls from Mr. O'Malley?
I've never had any missed FaceTime calls from him.
Have you ever received any text messages from Mr. O'Malley saying, hey, I just tried calling you, couldn't get through?
Never.
What are you asking this court to do regarding this motion for contempt?
I'm asking this court to hold Victor MLA in contempt. His own lawyer has conceded that to some aspects of the contempt, and perhaps his lawyer and himself are misguided about the other aspects. So I don't think it's up for dispute. It's very clear. He will have reasons for why he says he cannot FaceTime, which again, I think if we're going to be apart, if as a family, what's in the best interest of the children is that they still communicate with each other. And this is a 5-year-old and a 9-year-old. They're going to have a great time chatting via FaceTimes. Sia does that a lot with her other cousins in other parts of the world. So to that, I would say Victor Emeli is on the internet right now. He will remain on the internet for the duration of this hearing. Internet is possible in Asaba. And if anybody can get internet in Asaba, it's Victor Emeli. He's highly trained. He's a software engineer. He's an IT specialist. He was in the process of getting a robotics PhD from Georgia Tech, which required that he be in virtual communication with his advisors and his peers on a weekly basis. He was working on artificial intelligence in Nigeria. So let's not just denote Nigeria as a place that, you know, is some type of black hole that can't get internet. But if you want to call it a black hole, Victor Emeli is the one to be able to get internet there. So this reasoning and this logic of I can't FaceTime you because I don't have internet access is inaccurate just by his presence here today. And the fact that he cut off all communication because we were having supervised audiovisual calls, we're having supervised FaceTime prior to October 9th. But as of October 9th, everything cut off. That's not how internet works. You don't just get a hearing, a judge's order that you don't like, and all of a sudden you have no internet. So the timeline doesn't add up. The fact that he's here doesn't add up. His level of expertise in this area doesn't add up. So, so I want this court to find him in contempt because he is in contempt.
What were your communications with Mr. Emeli about summer visitation?
My communications with him were that I requested that he bring little Victor from May 25th to July. And he had stated that that would not be possible because little Victor's school calendar does not end until July 28th. And I did Google that Nigerian calendar is in July, but he also told me that he's homeschooling little Victor, at which point I said, share the curriculum with me. We can homeschool him here while he's, and this is the time, summer is out, summertime here. It'll be a good time for him and his sister to spend time together. But he says, no, he's not going to do it that way. He thinks that that's going to be disruptive. So his plan now is the curriculum, he says, ends July 28th. He says he will bring little Victor August 11th to September 11th.
Are you asking not only for the court to find Mr. Emeli in contempt, are you asking that the court order that Mr. Emeli return little Victor to the United States?
I am asking for that, yes. And I just wanted to say one more point to Mr. Gross's statement earlier that I never made an attempt to go to Nigeria myself. Even the ability to get a US passport for Sia, our daughter, came from this court. The court had to order, because you require both parents, because each child has 2 parents, given that they're alive, you require the signature of both parents to get a new passport. He would not send me the passport that he had in his custody. He would not sign the paperwork to say that that passport was lost. So how am I going to go to Nigeria, to an address that I do not know? I've never been to wherever he is living now. I was in Abuja, which is where he was living before. How am I going to go to an unknown address in an unknown state in Nigeria? Am I supposed to go without our daughter? Because he never helped me to get a passport. I had to get a court order to get a passport for her. And how does she enter the country? She's a US citizen. Oh, she's also a Nigerian citizen, but would he give me her passport? No, he didn't do that either. So, and how am I supposed to go? I'm not Nigerian, so I'm supposed to get a visa that has a limited time. Again, I've already told you all the obstacles I had trying to visit Nigeria in the past. So you can't just say, hey, show up in Nigeria without even making any moves for your daughter to have a passport. I'll end on that.
Yeah, that's all the questions I have at this time.
All right, Mr. Gross, were you at the prior motion for contempt hearing?
You mean the hearing that was on or about February 2nd of 2022?
Correct.
Yes, I was there, but yes, I was in court on or about February 2nd, 2022.
Yes, Your Honor, if I may, Your Honor, we had the motion for contempt, but the judge did not hear that at the time. The judge granted Mr. Gross's continuance, so the contempt wasn't heard on that day.
Oh, okay. All right. All right, Mr. Gross, you want to put your client up?
I would like it to do a brief cross-examination, Your
Oh,
Honor,
excuse me. I forgot about that.
and I will
Go
try to
ahead.
be brief. If Dr. Emily, if you remember plaintiff's exhibit number 2, and I can pull that up on my screen if you want. Let me share, if I may share the screen here. It may not be share screen. Okay, all right. So these are the text messages that you had sent to Mr. Emily. Can you see them?
It's not on the screen yet.
Can you see it now?
Yes.
Okay. So in regards to the Christmas parenting time that you've stated in your contempt, at any time did you text him and say, how are we going to get little Victor to the United States? I mean, we got your text here on the, at any time did you text him in regards to physically or how you were going to get little Victor to the United States to see you?
Well, I was waiting for him to respond to one of those messages and then we can have a conversation about that.
Okay.
Yeah.
But in all these text messages, you never asked.
I don't know, maybe I may have asked him in an email, I don't know. But in these messages, these are the messages that happened in that time frame.
To your knowledge, did you have your lawyer write a letter on your behalf saying, hey, it's getting close to Christmas? Write his lawyer a letter in regards to Christmas parenting time.
I don't know.
Okay. Did you buy any plane tickets?
The parenting plan calls for him to buy the plane ticket and I reimburse him 50%.
I don't think that's what, one moment, please.
The expenses for travel to the United States to visit the mother shall be paid equally by both parties. Mother shall pay 50%, father shall pay 50%.
Right. It doesn't say who has to buy the ticket first. It just says reimbursement.
Got it.
Okay. So you never bought a plane ticket either? To say,
No,
hey,
I didn't. No.
Okay.
So where would I be booking him out of?
I mean, that's,
No, please explain. What city would he leave from?
hold on here. Hold on here. I mean, I get to ask the questions.
I know you do, but
But I just want to know if you bought a plane ticket to any place in Nigeria, any of the major cities.
there's no plane ticket that exists that goes from nowhere to Atlanta. If there was a plane ticket that existed that goes
Are
from
there
nowhere
plane tickets that go to, I apologize for my,
from Lagos?
are there plane tickets that go to, Abjura, Nigeria?
There's no plane ticket that goes to, where is it?
Abjura, Abuja.
There are plane tickets that go to Abuja, but I knew for a fact that he did not live in Abuja. So why would I buy a plane ticket from Abuja?
Well,
Next, where's the next
how
plane
do
ticket?
you expect the child to get from Nigeria to the United States?
With his father. That's how he got to Nigeria in the first place. No, please explain. What city would he leave from?
Hold on here. Hold on here. I mean, I get to ask the questions.
I know you do, but
But I just want to know if you bought a plane ticket to any place in Nigeria, any of the major cities.
there's no plane ticket that exists that goes from nowhere to Atlanta. If there was a plane ticket that existed that goes
Are
from
there
nowhere
plane tickets that go to, I apologize for my,
from Lagos?
are there plane tickets that go to, Abjura, Nigeria?
There's no plane ticket that goes to, where is it?
Abjura, Abuja.
There are plane tickets that go to Abuja, but I knew for a fact that he did not live in Abuja. So why would I buy a plane ticket from Abuja?
Well,
Next,
well,
where's the next
how
plane
do
ticket?
you expect the child to get from Nigeria to the United States?
With his father. That's how he got to Nigeria in the first place.
Just hold on here. So if somebody doesn't buy a plane ticket, it's not going to happen, correct?
So you need me to buy a plane ticket for the father as well?
I don't know. I'm just
A 9-year-old, if a 9-year-old cannot do a phone conversation, as you had pointed out, if a 9-year-old cannot be given a cell phone to communicate, a 9-year-old cannot fly by themselves from anywhere in West Africa to the US. It's not a thing.
Dr. Emily, I just had a very simple question. Did you buy a plane ticket tonight to and from Nigeria? And I think you've answered that question.
Was that it?
One moment, please. And do you have any relation that lives in Nigeria?
I do not.
And when you had explained that you had left Nigeria with your daughter, isn't it true? You just basically took her and went without speaking with Mr. Emily at all.
I contacted him 11 times and he did not pick up.
On the day that you left, did you talk to him and say, hey, I'm going to take our daughter and go back to the United States?
I called him, he did not pick up. I called over 12 times. I texted him, he didn't pick up, he didn't respond. I said, I have something important to talk to you about, he didn't respond.
Okay. I have no further questions for this witness.
All right,
Your Honor, may I ask a couple follow-up?
okay.
Oh, I'm sorry. I gotta fix this, I think. One moment, please. Okay, sorry about that.
Ms. Amelie, did we file our first motion for contempt in November of 2022?
We did.
And I'm going to show you. May I have permission to share my screen?
Yes, ma'am.
Thank you, Judge. I'm going to show you your motion for contempt that was filed in November of 2022, specifically paragraph 4. At that time, you brought up the issue of the holiday schedule and that the father, Mr. Amelia, was to provide the holiday schedule by October 30th, 2022 for planning purposes, correct?
Correct.
And he hadn't done that, had he?
Correct.
So was there any way for you to buy a plane ticket?
There was no way. This is what the young people call ghosting, when somebody just disappears. All those messages that you've seen, that's me trying to talk to this person who's the father of our children and who will not respond. And as Mr. Gross correctly pointed out, you can't just give a cell phone to a 9-year-old. That's why I'm asking that he give him an iPad so we can have the audiovisual communication. That same 9-year-old who allegedly cannot handle an audiovisual conversation by himself cannot get on a plane by himself and just magically appear in the US. He comes with his father. His father buys his own ticket. So I'm not just magically here, not sending and buying tickets. This is not how it works. He's 9 years old. His father has to buy a ticket. His father has to know where he's leaving from. His father doesn't even live in Abuja anymore. Abuja is a place you have direct flights from Abuja to the UK, and then from UK you can connect to the US. Or Lagos has direct flights from Lagos to Atlanta. But he doesn't live in any of these cities. Nobody knows where he lives. I mean, I hope somebody knows where he lives. I don't know where he lives. So what local flight will he get on to get to the next city, to get to where he needs to go? I don't know, because he hasn't shared that information.
Yeah, that's all I have.
To this date. And because I think we're talking a lot about Nigeria. Huh?
Thank you.
Okay, thanks.
Your Honor, that's all I have for this witness. Your Honor, that's all the witnesses I have for the motion for contempt.
Okay. Why'd you ask for a continuance, Mr. Gross, from the prior hearing?
Because I had recently been retained, Your Honor.
That's what I figured. All right, you can put up your evidence.
Mr. Emily, would you please raise your right hand